The roar didn't come all at once, it built slowly, like a storm forming beyond the horizon, until everyone realized they were witnessing something unforgettable. October baseball has a way of exposing the truth. The pressure strips away hype, excuses, and comfort. And in that unforgiving spotlight, one name rose above the rest this postseason: Yoshinobu Yamamoto. When the rankings were released, labeling him the best performer of this year's playoffs, it felt less like an opinion and more like a confirmation of what fans already knew. Yamamoto didn't just pitch. He commanded October. Every start felt heavy with consequence. Every pitch carried the weight of a season, a city, and history pressing down on his shoulders. And somehow, he looked calm, almost serene, amid the chaos. This was not the Yamamoto of spring training optimism. This was the Yamamoto forged by pressure, sharpened by expectation, and unleashed when it mattered most. The Dodgers' path toward another World Series title was never guaranteed. The margin was thin. The opponents relentless. One mistake could have changed everything. But Yamamoto didn't blink. From the first batter he faced in the playoffs, there was a different energy. Fastballs snapped with authority. Breaking balls fell off the table like gravity had suddenly doubled. Hitters stepped back, then stepped out. You could see it in their faces. Confusion, frustration, respect. October exposes nerves. Yamamoto showed none. In game after game, inning after inning, he neutralized momentum before it could even breathe. Big spots became quiet moments. Rally attempts dissolved into weak contact and stunned silence. This wasn't dominance built on raw velocity alone. It was precision. It was control. It was intelligence meeting confidence at exactly the right time. And the timing couldn't have been more perfect. The Dodgers were chasing history, another World Series, another statement to the league that their era was far from over. To do that, they needed more than stars. They needed anchors. Yamamoto became that anchor. Analysts began to notice the pattern. When he pitched, the series tilted. The opposing dugout tightened. The Dodgers exhaled. This is how championships are won, one broadcaster said quietly during a late inning. No hype, just truth. But Yamamoto wasn't alone in shaping this October. Shohei Ohtani, even when not dominating the stat sheet every night, altered the gravity of the game simply by existing. Pitchers adjusted. Defenses shifted. Decisions were made out of fear as much as strategy. Ohtani's postseason presence wasn't always loud, but it was constant. The kind of influence that doesn't always show up in box scores, but lives in the tension of every pitch thrown his way. And then there was Roki Sasaki. Young, electric, unapologetically fearless. When Sasaki took the mound, the atmosphere changed. The fastball arrived like a warning. The slider whispered danger. Every inning felt like a test of nerve, and Sasaki passed more often than not. To see Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Sasaki all ranked among the postseason's elite wasn't just a statistic, it was a symbol. A symbol of a new era fully colliding with the biggest stage. For years, people debated whether Japanese stars could truly dominate the most brutal moments of MLB baseball. October answered that question without hesitation. Yes. Emphatically yes. But Yamamoto stood at the center of it all. There was one inning, bases loaded, crowd on its feet, season hanging in the balance, where everything slowed down. Yamamoto took the ball, adjusted his grip, and delivered a pitch so perfect it felt scripted. Strike 3. The stadium exploded. The batter froze. The moment was sealed. That was the postseason in a snapshot. Not panic. Not flash. Just execution. As the Dodgers advanced, the narrative became unavoidable. Yamamoto wasn't just contributing, he was shaping outcomes. He was the difference between survival and collapse. Teammates spoke about him in hushed tones. Coaches trusted him with everything. Fans waited for his starts like they were appointments with destiny. And when the discussion turned to World Series aspirations, one sentence kept repeating. He played a massive role. Not might have, not could have, did. In the end, postseason rankings are just words on a page. But sometimes, they capture something real. Something earned. This time, they did. Yamamoto's recognition as the playoffs' best performer wasn't about hype or reputation. It was about moments delivered when moments were demanded. Alongside him, Ohtani and Sasaki reminded the world that greatness doesn't come from comfort, it comes from courage under pressure. Together, they didn't just chase a title. They redefined belief. For fans, this October will be remembered not just for wins or losses, but for clarity. For proof that preparation meets opportunity in the most brutal environments. And as the final outs echoed and the celebrations began, one truth settled in quietly. This wasn't just a postseason run. It was a statement to history. Yoshinobu Yamamoto didn't just perform in October. He owned it.